Mute us.
Going live.
We're live now.
Wow. We got our Twitter handles back. Anyways, welcome to the Finished Business Podcast. I am one of your hosts.
What?
You're the host.
I guess I am the host.
We're
You can just give me
co-hosts.
that responsibility. I'm Nick.
I'm Brad.
I'm Lance.
With special guest.
I'm Serena.
Yay!
Wow. That's
She's
amazing.
special.
So special.
All right. Do you have some current events?
Yeah.
Elon Musk, old Muskie.
Yeah,
Oh, what's
this-
Muskie up to, man? Oh, and I'm sorry I missed you guys this last week.
He's
Oh yeah, Lance was gone
I was
because
gone.
he was sleeping or something,
It was really hot that day, and it just wasn't a good one.
and that's why we're inside because it's really hot today.
Yep.
We were inside last week.
But I was like working in an attic like all day that day, and I just wasn't. I wasn't capable of doing anything after work.
I liked last week's guest a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
should have him back on, definitely.
Mr. Aaron Grubb, we will have him on again, and we'll talk about ancient civilizations or something.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Current events.
Aliens.
So Muskie's like had some issues with Twitter, man. What's going on?
Yeah, so Elon Musk has been tweeting like mad and starting to step on his dick a little bit and having to pull it back, and he got to the point. He got to the point where people advised him to stop tweeting, to only retweet.
Okay, so who is the advisor to?
Wait. Can we ask? How does he step on his own dick? Is it really that long?
It's a figure of speech.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I've
there's
heard that
been a
one.
lot of dicks.
I mean, I've had that problem before, but I
the
thought I
best-
was alone.
The best of us, but
Yeah, so he's back. He just called someone a pedophile and some other things, and he's like cussing out people that give him his car bad reviews. So
well,
yeah,
okay. So what's this thing? So did we talk about this last week? Muskie's plan to make a submarine to rescue those kids that were stuck in a
we
cave.
did. Yeah. We did
Okay,
talk.
so like a little kid-sized submarine, like he was making one. It was tested and everything, and like they were working on it, and then everything kind of worked out okay.
It got delivered.
It got delivered.
And they never used it.
Right.
And
But
the guy said
What's
it
the big
was
deal?
the main diver dude said that his submarine wouldn't have worked and that it was garbage. And so that's why Elon Musk went on the defensive and called him a pedophile.
Makes sense.
But
You can't just call people that.
On Twitter? I mean, come on, it's the internet. You can
you
do what
technically
you
do whatever you
Yeah.
want, but
Yeah, but he should have just called him a jerk or something.
Sure.
Right.
I mean,
want. I mean, he basically just got called a
'Cause
jerk.
isn't
So
that like-
he was just delivering back.
well,
That's
but
slander in a sense, isn't it?
that's escalating it pretty.
But is it slander
Because-
if it's Twitter?
Well, I mean, people can go to jail over stuff like that.
This is true. They lose their jobs over it all the time.
It's the internet, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
well, that's why people get upset about stupid stuff Donald Trump tweets.
That's true. Yeah.
You know,
so
and
this
it's just Twitter.
I just laugh at it. It's hilarious.
so like we should be responsible for what we say, right? So we should also be responsible for our tweets, right? So there's we should be, and some people get fired for their tweets, stuff they've done in the past. So the co-creator of Rick and Morty had a video he made a long time ago that was very inappropriate and deleted it, and it's since resurfaced. And in this day and age, people are getting in trouble for rude comments.
Wait a second here. He tried to delete something off the internet.
No, it was he took it off in 2009.
2009.
Yeah,
That's a long time
so
ago.
about
Yeah.
9 years ago, and then someone brought it back on 4chan. And so,
of course, it was 4chan.
so the video is kind of messed up, but it's a joke. It's a pilot episode for a show that is like involves serial killers and going back in the past and stuff like that. But what he
It's a
did was,
show. What's the big deal?
well, it involves going back in time and finding a serial killer when he's a baby and molesting the baby.
Molesting the baby. Wow. Okay.
I think that's a little inappropriate.
That's very inappropriate.
Over the top. But it's still it's like a show, right?
So
You
this
should
is-
call
Trying to
him.
make a point. Rick and Morty is a very over-the-top TV show,
you
though.
put that
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
put that on HBO, and it's like, what's the big deal?
Well,
It is HBO.
So this is my beef. I don't have a beef that he made the video. I don't have a beef that Cartoon Network or whatever forgave him. They didn't fire him. Everyone's getting fired these days for doing stupid shit. But my beef is that Dan Harmon, the dude, deleted his Twitter. He's like, I'm getting in trouble. I'm just going to delete it. And I think that's a cop-out. That's like saying everything I've ever said, I take it back. Like, because...
Well, I ain't never tweeted nothing before, so I don't know. how to
But once you
respond to
tweet
that.
something, it's like it becomes a thing and it's there forever. So you shouldn't be able to just delete your Twitter and be like, I'm not responsible for that anymore. It never happened. I deleted my Twitter.
But maybe it was for his own mental health, as he was getting a whole lot of negative feedback, and he was just like, I can't read
handle
this
anymore.
I can't read this.
Yeah.
I need just some time away.
And sometimes we have to draw those boundaries.
That's
true.
Yeah.
So what about the Disney director or whatever for the
In on that episode?
no.
Walt Disney is a pedophile. You heard it here first.
The Guardians of the Galaxy director got fired for something that he tweeted like a long time ago.
Well, you heard about Papa John's too.
Yeah, and now there's like a petition that's got like 50,000 signatures to bring the dude back because it's just like he tweeted something like 10 years ago. What's the big deal?
Wait. Can you explain Papa John's?
Again, yeah. Papa John's. So the dude Papa John was in a conference call about sensitivity training.
Oh yeah.
And they were talking about having Kanye West as a sponsor in their commercials, and he said, "No, I don't want Kanye West. He says the N-word too much." And like eventually he got pushed to saying the actual word in the conference call about diversity and sensitivity training. And then they...
What do you mean by the N-word?
The N-word. The word for African American people.
What is it?
You guys are so clever. If you're watching right now, comment what you think that word is. For real though, do it. Oh, there's one listener right now, and I wonder who you are.
Oh, there's zero listeners.
Oh.
He left. He couldn't handle it.
He couldn't handle the N-word.
Yeah, and so
Nice.
they instantly took his name off of Papa John's Pizza. They fired him. Like, there's a Papa John's stadium. They took his name off of the stadium, like a college football stadium. Yeah, and he's fighting back for it. So
Right. Well, but it sounded like in the context, it was like
appropriate.
Kanye West uses this word too much, and I think that's inappropriate. It wasn't like he was calling Kanye West the N-word.
Or anybody. Yeah.
Right.
But the point is he's getting fired and losing his job over it. And it's like how things can go from 0 to 100 like really quickly this day and age with social media and stuff. Because people instantly like start tweeting like their negative support or their positive support either way. And it gets out of hand.
Well, and you have to realize that we live in a day and age where everything's hypersensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even say your opinion, and if you do, then you are a huge jerk, and, oh, you must hate me because you have your own opinion. It's like, no, actually, I just have my own thoughts, and you have your own thoughts, and we are both allowed to have those, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I hate you,
Like
or...
Microaggressions?
And that's one of the stupidest terms I've ever heard.
Microaggression.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Never heard that before.
Let's explain it. I can't explain it very well.
I can imagine what it means.
No, go for it. You go for it.
No, a microaggression is like where you're passive aggressive with your words, and you like exactly just that, being passive aggressive, and someone just takes it way too far or is super sensitive, and it's called a microaggression.
Okay, so what's an example?
Well,
example,
I think it goes beyond, but sometimes it's unintentional.
yeah,
Like if I don't know, if I said, your microaggressions are retarded,
yeah,
and somebody takes offense to that word,
Yeah.
then
They have a microaggression against the word retarded.
or something like
no,
that.
it doesn't work like that.
Okay, then explain.
So if I got defensive about what you said to me, whether or not you meant it rude, I'd be like, why are you being like that? That was a microaggression. Like, you were just very passive aggressive with
You'd
me.
be like, why are you being so
And I
retarded?
get triggered and like raise my voice, like you were talking about with this Starbucks lady, like escalate things.
Yeah.
Sensitive, being sensitive,
being overly sensitive.
overly sensitive.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm glad I work with a whole bunch of electricians because they don't care.
Right? Exactly. I work in a kitchen. We're like microaggressive all the time. So
Beyond microaggressive, I'm sure.
Yeah. I know a couple of your coworkers are very loud,
yeah,
especially the one that lives across the street from me. I'm looking at you.
Would I be offended at those people?
No.
Okay.
oh, we've been running into. Speaking of this subject, we have chef's tables all the time, and we're running into. We had a chef's table with like a 14-year-old girl there, and we evidently cussed a little bit and we're telling sexual jokes, and
Oh, whoops.
Oh, dang.
and it's like all the normal stuff that happens in a kitchen, and And so the lady complained, and it's just weird to think that you pay for this experience. And we've all seen Hell's Kitchen. Like, you know what you're walking into. There's people that want to sit and have, like, no cussing. But there's people that want us to throw shit, to, like, yell at chef, and to, like, blow up all the time. And that's what people pay for.
So, wait.
Maybe you have to, like, gauge your audience, though.
We do.
You know?
We do. And the thing is that Grant, when they came in, Grant's like, everyone keep it PG. Keep it under control. And the lady called us out for that. She's like, if that's PG, what is it normally like?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
So, like, what do you guys normally do? And so our restaurant manager was really, like, good about it. And he said that, have you ever seen, like, celebrity chef shows? And people kind of want to see drama. And people want to see, like, people throwing stuff around and getting mad and shouting. Like, the drama, that's kind of what being in the kitchen's all about. So he handled it really well. She was kind of just being really sensitive to it. Why would you take... What's a good example of taking, like, a child to a situation that's not good and expecting everyone to behave
like
around
mature
them?
comedy night.
Yeah, or parents taking their children to freaking Deadpool. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then getting mad that they saw something bad. It's like, well, you're walking into a rated R movie. So if you're walking into the kitchen, just expect it to be rated R. Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I tell you, the electrician shop is rated R too. So.
Yeah. Computer shop generally is too.
Yep. I'm pretty sure Jake from State Farm's welding shop is pretty rated R as well.
Yep. Oh, he's pointing up, like way up. Like NC-17?
Keep it going.
Whoa.
Dang.
NC-17, that's like...
That means they're walking around naked.
Wow.
That's...
It was down a little bit.
Yeah, he said, okay, down farther than that. Okay. So we're talking like rated R, but only like 2 F words.
An hour.
Yeah.
No, it's probably more than that for the electrician.
Isn't that the rule? So something can be rated PG-13 if
the F word once?
I think it's twice.
Oh, it's twice?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
Well, they
twice.
were making a joke about that for like Deadpool and his like buddy or whatever is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, going through the whole like PG-13 rated movie and he like can't say the F word, but then Wolverine says it, so he can't. And then
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
Wolverine's-
there was a joke about that somewhere. So.
Wolverine's finally able to say it because he's in Deadpool.
Right.
And so he gets, that's
Yeah.
cool.
But then Deadpool can't say it because it's PG-13 instead of rated R.
Oh.
Yeah, because you can only say it once.
And he's like,
He's been like trying to save it the whole movie for like the perfect situation because he can only say it once, but then Wolverine says it and then he's all disappointed because
So they actually make that joke in the movie?
No, it's not in the movie.
It's not in the
Oh.
movie, but that's like something that
That'd
the
be
Reynolds
funny.
dude like tweeted about or something like that. Speaking of tweeting on Twitter, so
Tweetar. All right, well, should we get on to our topic?
what is our topic tonight, Brad?
Carbon footprints.
How big is your carbon footprint?
You know what? I don't know.
How big is my carbon footprint?
Probably about the same size as mine.
So let's
Yeah.
elaborate.
Oh, maybe smaller actually.
Oh yeah, I don't run up like a crazy
Hold on.
truck.
Yeah.
For those who aren't inside on this joke, what we're talking about is our vehicles and the cars that we drive and our carbon footprint, right?
Well,
That's what-
I mean, yes, but it also goes into like how much you fart and that sort of thing too.
Sure, yeah.
That adds to greenhouse gases.
Yeah, that's kind of how it came up. We were talking about having what on...
A cow.
No,
The
okay.
the
okay.
EGR valve.
Yeah, so go back and talk about cows release more carbon than like your average car, right? That's what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
then we were saying that you should put
An EGR valve, which
EGR
is
valve
what
onto
you-
a cow because they need to control their carbon footprint as well, especially if they're bigger than most average cars.
So what's the EGR valve?
EGR valve is on like newer vehicles is what they use to
Well, okay,
pump
it's
stuff back around and
yeah,
recycle it back.
It's-
You're the car guy. I'm not.
it's
a car
like
guy.
EGR stands for something like exhaust gas recirculation or something. And it basically takes a little bit of the exhaust gases and puts it back into the intake of your car. And the idea is so that then instead of pushing all the gases out the exhaust pipe, you reintroduce some into the intake and it gets burned more thoroughly. Also, that's what a catalytic converter is for, is it's got a catalytic converter kind of has like a mesh type thing in it that catches the unburnt fuel. And then as the exhaust heats up, it burns that fuel more completely. So it's not pushing as much unburnt fuel into the air. And it's supposed to be
Podcast
more...
dog says hello.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And
Okay, so
yeah.
EGR valve takes exhaust, pushes it back through your engine, and makes it exhaust again.
Yes.
Therefore, saving the environment, something.
Well, because an internal combustion engine is only like 20 to 30% efficient, so 70% of the fuel going into your engine just gets pushed out into the air.
Wow.
Except with yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Except with systems with like EGR systems and catalytic converters, then it burns it a lot more thoroughly.
Sure. Okay, so if we wanted to introduce a feature like that onto a cow, would the cow be very happy about his farts coming back in through his intake?
No. The cow would have to breathe its flatulence, and hopefully its digestive system would then process the fart more thoroughly, but I don't think that would happen. I think it would probably just kill the cow.
You think so?
Yeah.
Methane gas back through the intake.
Yeah. I don't know about that. It probably wouldn't even be able to moo because it'd be like, yeah.
Wait, is that a cow or a goat?
Depends on the day.
Okay, so there's a lot of cows in the world. McDonald's got to keep up somehow. Cows have a large carbon footprint.
But have you seen? Okay, and this is kind of a sidetrack. But have you seen that they're able to like grow meat?
Yeah.
From cells?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, wait,
They can.
McDonald's?
No.
Like
Just
scientists.
scientists have.
Yeah,
It's
it's not the type of thing that's common yet, but someday it probably
there's-
will be.
Well, McDonald's meat isn't even like real meat though. It's like mostly soy.
Kinda, right.
It's kind of,
Yeah.
but it's mostly soy.
They still are the number one killer of cows.
well, I think it's part meat and part other stuff filler, so that they don't have to buy as much cow,
Right.
and they
Cows are
can.
expensive.
Yeah, and it cuts down on costs, and they're able to serve a whole lot of burgers without having to pay so much, and then the burgers are cheaper. That's how they're able to keep costs down.
Right.
Um,
But then the minimum wage goes up, and for some reason your burger goes up right along with it.
So, do you think that the minimum wage is directly correlated to carbon footprints?
It very well could be.
No.
Minimum wage is definitely directly correlated to the minimum wage, though.
Wait, you went from maybe to definitely.
Well, he said the minimum wage is definitely correlated to the minimum wage.
he
So,
would say that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I said it, and I meant it. Also, the cost of a burger.
yep, that too. Well, the cost of pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So they make this veggie burger that's once you cook it and serve it and like cut it open or take a bite, it simulates a real burger with the blood coming out. So it's juicy.
Is it like beet juice? Or?
Yeah, it's something, but it's starting to really catch. And I think Denny's or
Wasn't it like the just? I think I've seen it around.
it's like three
Yeah.
words is his name. But yeah, so when you bite into it, it's juicy and it looks like blood. And this is blowing my mind. I haven't tried it yet. I want to.
Okay, so here's my thing with that though. Is it's like, why do vegetarians and vegans try to simulate meat? Why don't?
Meat
Because
is delicious.
that's the thing is tofu really is good when you just cook it as tofu with like whatever, but when you try to make it like fake meat or whatever, then
Tofu
it's terrible.
tacos.
So I think the reason that they try and replicate meat and make things like meat is because they still need protein. And they're not getting enough protein.
Right, so why don't you just like, okay, this is tofu. It's got protein. It's got what plants crave. I mean, what's the big deal with that? I think that it's dumb that, okay, we're vegetarians. We think that it's terrible to harm animals or we think that meat is bad for you or whatever the reason is. Why are you trying to simulate meat? Why don't you just embrace it and like
You
eat
have a
the
map
vegetables?
on your wall, and I was trying to explain to you the globe with a exercise ball.
Well, you said globe.
But what about the flat Earth?
Yeah. Maybe that's more accurate than the
definitely more
exercise ball.
accurate.
So to answer your question, why are they trying to eat meat like products? I think the people that are making the meat like products are trying to make money.
I think it's just
Sure.
advertising.
Trying to sell their
meat is
products.
pretty well advertised.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
if you're a vegetarian and you could eat something that's just exactly like meat, tastes like it, and looks like it, you're probably gonna buy that. You're probably going to eat it.
Well, but that's the
It'd be
thing.
like a breakthrough.
Is if you're so against eating meat, then why would you buy something that simulates meat?
It's a meat substitute.
That's-
Yeah, why would you buy meat substitutes if you don't like meat?
Right, exactly. Why would you make something try to taste like meat and try to act like meat when the whole point is not to eat meat?
You got me. You got
Yeah.
me.
Maybe it's because they're all crazy.
Maybe.
No
Maybe
way.
you should just eat meat because you know what?
Well,
We have dominion over the animals, and meat is a complete protein, and it's good for you.
okay. Some
Contrary
Here's
to
the thing
popular
is that
belief.
some people think that animals have souls, and so that's part of the reason why. It's because they put them on the same plane as human beings.
Well, I tend to disagree.
Oh, I totally do as well. But I'm just saying, like, that's part of the reason why there's that like activists for animals, and they don't need to be treated cruelly, which I do agree with. They shouldn't be
Right.
treated cruelly because then they have the hormones that are put into their body, which then we ingest, and then it affects us just as much as it does them.
Right.
So
Well, and I
So
I
there's
try
these
to.
people out there that just can't stand the fact that they're going to be going to heaven without their dog.
Unfortunately, there's no biblical evidence to support that
are
actually
there
happens.
carbon footprints in heaven?
I think once
I'm
you.
just trying to bring it back around.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Tangent.
Well, maybe we should talk about cruelty to animals.
Subject change.
How much carbon does go? How much carbon goes in the air when you slaughter a cow?
from the slaughtering.
We
Yeah.
had this plan for like the last 3 weeks. How to
You
do
Yeah.
can't
it
just
now.
think of like the instant carbon footprint. You got to think about the carbon footprint that goes into the fuel, that goes into like the wood that's
Exactly,
used to
yeah.
make the walls. You got to think about all of that.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So, do we have too big of a carbon footprint right now, or are we doing okay?
Our podcast right now.
No, like in our world.
The United States or the entire Earth?
The world.
Are you trying to bring up global warming right now?
I wasn't planning on it, but it could go there.
It definitely could go there. Well, okay. I think it's probably not as bad as people assume, and like Serena said, it's mostly due to livestock and that sort of thing. Like there's this whole
But there's like a lot of people.
Well, and how do
that eat
you-
a lot of livestock? So
like,
a lot
how-
of livestock needs to exist.
How do
Yeah.
you gauge that though?
Exactly.
Like, who's out there gauging and monitoring
Who's
the
sticking
carbon
the
footprints?
thing up the cow's butt?
Yeah.
All right. This one goes in your butt and this one goes in your ear. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh no!
What
I got
rating?
those
What
mixed
rating
up.
does this podcast receive on this episode?
Oh, I always mark it as mature. No, seriously, I always mark it as this may contain mature content.
It's good. It's
well,
good.
there you go. Cover all grounds.
Yeah. Okay, so
But I think my mom watches, so
there's a lot of people that have this idea that buying a hybrid car or an electric car is helping reduce the carbon footprint.
But here's the thing: is that their batteries are way more expensive, and the batteries release acid like after it's done because,
And
which is
you
more
s-
damaging.
you
And the
still-
mining
Lithium.
of lithium to create the batteries is way more toxic, and an electric car ends up putting out about as much emissions over its entire lifetime as a normal gasoline vehicle.
You know what that's called? Marketing.
But it's,
Boom.
but it's powered basically by coal, because that's where a decent chunk of the United States is at least power comes from
What?
is coal.
There you
I
go.
want a fact checker on that.
Do it.
It
Yeah,
might have
do
been
it.
that way in the past, but
It
even
still
hydroelectric.
Not even close.
Hydroelectric is not even close.
Not even close.
Natural gas is going to be hecka higher, but
Natural gas, like okay, I know what you mean.
yeah, natural gas is in like big, huge caves underground that are just filled with natural gas.
Well, there's the natural gas plants that
So,
incinerators or burn it or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. That's yeah. Okay, here we go.
according to EIA.gov, it's a government website in the United States, about 63% of this electricity generation was from fossil fuels. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get some more context. Let me click on this real quick. So this is U.S. electricity generation by source amount and share of total in 2017.
So 31% natural gas, 30% coal.
Wow, 20% nuclear.
Oh,
And where
I'm totally for nuclear.
17% on
Hydro-
renewables.
Hydropower is all the way down at 7.5%.
So, but look, fossil fuels total is 62.7%. So that's coal, natural gas, oil, all that sort of thing.
That's what your
62.
car is being powered off of right there. I mean, that's just
Your electric car.
your electric car. Yeah.
There was a video on.
I like the nuclear number, 20%.
That's good.
So there was a video graphic on the New York Times website that has like a visual representation of the temperatures from like 1800s to now for every single country around a circle.
How accurate is an 1800s thermometer?
Let me finish my story
Continue with
first.
your story. Continue with your story.
I think you know what? Thermometers have been the same this
Okay.
whole time.
Have they?
I will fight you right now.
Continue
I will
your
fight
story.
You have to fight through Brad. That's not good.
So basically, it's a graphic representation, animated, of like the temperature of the Earth as the years go by, and now everything's red. So like it's like from blue to red, you know. And back in the 1800s, it was blue. It would go up to red a little bit as the summertime came. You could see it on the graph, but now everyone's in red. So.
But what's the number change between blue and red? Like 0.5%?
No, okay, so like blue would be 70 degrees, and red would be
And
like
red's
100
72.
degrees.
So is this climate? Is this what you're
This
talking
is a
about?
climate change thing.
Oh, okay.
So what about the period of time that it's like 10 or 20 years in the 30s and 40s. I think it was from like 1930 to 1940 something. That there was like no change at all.
No change at all?
There was no change at all. There was no cooling. There was no warming for like 10 or 20 years. It has not been a linear rise. And even if it has been a linear rise, are we to blame? And if we are to blame, can we even fix it?
But there's been a linear rise, but we also have been able to measure it accurately, or like closer to accurate, versus like, were we measuring it before? I don't
Was
think
some
so.
dude like going out to the backyard with a thermometer and be like, oh,
It is 100 degrees today.
write that down in the diary.
Yeah, I'm gonna tablet in my stone tablet. 100 degrees.
Do you know anybody that lived back in 1800 that knew like what the temperature was?
There probably was.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna give that person credit. I'm gonna say that there was somebody
Well,
actually
scientists.
taking temperatures.
So what about the Farmers Almanac? What do you guys think about that? If like 1800s era temperature taking is not accurate, then like what do you think about the Farmers Almanac?
I mean, I'm not saying it's not accurate. I'm just saying it's not as accurate as it is now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's just assume that it is as accurate as it is now,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
for the sake of argument.
Okay.
So the Farmers Almanac is, I've heard, even with global warming, I'm using air quotes, it's still accurate and on point as far as like when it's going to rain and such. So in my mind, I don't think it's global warming at all, and I think it's just the way the Earth is, because we have the cool times and we have the warm times, and
Well,
My dad tells a whole bunch of stories back when he was a kid. You know, when he was our age, people were like worried about it, global cooling.
yeah.
There's going to be an ice age in 20 years. I mean,
Well-
that's the type of stuff he grew up with, and now we're going to be like, oh, the ice caps are melting. We're all going to be underwater in 20 years.
Yeah.
well, have you guys seen An Inconvenient Truth? It's a documentary by Al Gore.
Al Gore.
And he
the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, it came out like in the late 90s or something, and he pretty much said, yeah, by like 2012 or whatever, all the ice caps will be melted and we'll all be underwater. Well, even if the ice caps melted completely, every single seashore would lose like 5 feet, but that'd be it. We wouldn't be underwater. And I mean,
There's some places that could pretty well disrupt. You go to Venice,
Sure.
that might wreck Venice.
sure.
I mean, isn't it partly underwater already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing is, well, now it's 2018 and we still have plenty of ice on the top and bottom of the Earth. So,
I mean, it just goes to show that humans aren't very good at predicting things.
well, I think the problem is there's this, is the Earth warming? Maybe. Could it possibly be caused by humans? Maybe. But it's not as extreme as a lot of people say. And in my opinion, we should stop trying to stop it because it's already happened. If it is happening,
That's the problem, is when we try and stop it and do the chemtrails thing, or we do all sorts of
chemtrails. Okay, tell us about how do chemtrails help with the
I'm
global
opening
warming?
myself up right now.
Well, I just don't know. So tell me.
Another
Yeah, I don't know what a chemtrail is either.
Well, I know what a chemtrail is. I just don't know how it helps with global
I don't
warming.
know what a chemtrail is, and I don't know how it helps with carbon footprint.
Okay, so explain.
So another example would be, okay, so chemtrail. Chemtrail, when you look up in the sky and you see an airplane flying and you see the streak, of white plumes of gas behind it or whatever. So some people say it's just like the thing that they do automatically, but then other people, you would say conspiracy theorists, claim that they're that they're releasing like an ammonia, not ammonium, but an
Aluminum?
an aluminum substance to like help with the atmosphere to change the temperature. So like a scientist is like, how can we fix this? Let's do this. They're trying it. They've been trying it forever, and it's not really helping. Another example would be in Los Angeles, in their water supplies or their water reservoirs. They're worried about it's evaporating too quickly out of the reservoir, and so they fill the reservoir with black balls. The whole thing with a bunch of black balls to stop the water from evaporating up or whatever, supposedly. So
Wait. What are these black balls?
These black balls float on the top of the surface.
So
and
like plastic or something?
Yeah, keep the moisture down as compared to, or like keep the sun from hitting it.
To help prevent the water from evaporating?
Oh. Yeah, so they're adding plastic, whatever, like millions of black balls, and there's tons. You can look it up.
Like,
I'm gonna put my big black balls in the lake.
Yes.
I'm gonna solve global warming with my big black
like
balls.
The Illuminati or something?
No. Where's my award? But for my black balls.
Wow. Okay,
Could
well,
you imagine that?
Really happened in real life.
Could you imagine that? Nick, you have won the Nobel Peace Prize for your giant black balls.
And like,
Yes,
I mean, is
they
this
are
like
clapping for black
Is this
balls.
like a McDonald's ball pit we're talking here? Or?
no, this is an example of people.
It's a lake of black balls.
Wow.
It helps prevent the water from evaporating. I get what you're trying to say.
Like the science behind it's like pretty accurate, or not accurate, but like founded. It makes sense. But then again, like that's a lot of plastic that you're just putting back to the environment.
Oh, plastic is what's plastic made out of? Like
Oil.
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 They got plenty of that. Tons of dinosaurs died back in the day. I think
It's like plant matter and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's not just dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing. I'm pretty sure Inconvenient Truth also said that we're going to run out of fossil fuels. Well,
When? Are we talking like 4 billion?
No, I got
drill, baby, drill. Go fracking.
4 billion years worth of.
Oh, you're
worth of-
evil.
worth of oil.
Fracking is not evil. We should talk about fracking sometime.
Okay, how about because this just came up in the news the other day. So it just came out that the galaxy Andromeda, which is our closest neighbor galaxy, within the last several billion years has actually like swallowed up another galaxy.
Oh yeah.
How did we know this?
I have no idea. I mean, some crazy scientist somewhere that probably the same dude that made black balls is like,
Pac-Man?
dude, Andromeda swallowed up like Pac-Man another galaxy, and it's on its way over to us next, and it's gonna hit us
Like
in,
Pac-Man, yeah.
in
Wow.
like 4 billion years. The Andromeda galaxy is gonna collide with the Milky Way galaxy.
So in 4 billion years, do you think we will have colonized Mars?
Do you think our carbon footprint is going to be big enough in 4 billion years to like infect all of the Andromeda galaxy? It might like expel it
Oh.
away.
The Earth farted. It's not going to be engulfed. Thank you for all those people
like-
with their carbon footprint.
The protective barrier.
That's like from
Boundaries.
the end of the world, where it's like, and our atmosphere was like, F you.
Like floats off. Good stuff.
Did you guys hear about the planet? Okay, not the planet, but the moon that's rotating wrong around Jupiter. So there's like 10 moons all going the right way,
And
they
then this
found
guy's going the other
one
direction.
moon that's going
Bing,
off.
bing, 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 bing.
Rebel.
So wait,
Yeah.
so like all the moons rotate around in like,
Whichever
clockwise.
way.
yeah, sure, whatever, and the other guy's going the opposite way.
Opposite way,
Just
yeah.
one.
Wow.
I don't know if it's Jupiter, but it's one of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like Jupiter's got a lot of.
Well, that's
moons.
retrograde,
Like,
right? Isn't that what that's talking about? Is retrograde?
Is this one like way
Ooh,
further up than
explain.
the rest, or like way closer?
I
than the
can't
rest?
explain it scientifically.
It's in
but
Okay.
basically,
Yeah.
it's like it's going the opposite direction that it normally does. Retrograde.
Oh.
I think that's what that is.
So what? I mean,
But
wouldn't it
currently,
hit
Mars
something
is
by now?
in retrograde. And if you looked at the moon,
Wait a
Mars was
second.
hanging out right underneath the moon.
I saw that.
seen
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
It was Venus. It was Mars?
It was Mars.
It was really bright.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It's really
there was
cool.
one that I saw. I was like, wait a second. Am I really seeing what I think I see?
Yeah, no, we saw it one night, and my buddy was like, "Whoa, what is that?" And like got some star map on his phone or whatever, and said, "Ah, it's Mars."
So I got an app for that.
He's got everything. You got an app for that.
Figured out the carbon footprint of Mars is.
You know, I bet you.
Speaking of Mars, didn't they figure out? I think they're thinking there might actually be like a liquid lake on Mars now.
Yeah, so that's something that there's
Did
a
we move there yet?
there's a European satellite that says that there's possible liquid water under the surface of Mars, and the United States is like, our satellite didn't see that, and there's a Chinese satellite headed for Mars, and so we'll see what the Chinese satellite says.
Is it gonna make it, or is it gonna fall out when it gets there? I bought plenty of stuff from China before. It usually doesn't last.
It's gonna throw back like like false readings. Oh, we got those Americans this time.
Oh, jeez.
There is water.
Oh no! Don't tweet that.
Yeah, it's because Trump is like anti-China, so they're like anti-us.
China.
No.
Oh.
I hope
Goodness
that
gracious.
people in other countries don't think that Trump is a good representation of an average American.
Yeah.
But is he though?
I don't think
Is
so.
he really?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know, man.
But
I think he lived the American dream, but he's not average.
Hold on, wait. But he's also a reality TV person.
Yep.
And so that's kind of like what our world has kind of like turned into, is we want to live in a reality TV show. We have kind of like put aside like living life, and we were wanting to live these extravagant lives that aren't even realistic. That's like what? Maybe like 2% or 3% of people.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's what we're wanting. And so I feel like once he got elected, that's kind of like what America started turning into, is a reality TV show in a sense.
The
It's
shock
like,
factor.
yeah,
Definitely. Well, and I think
Stuff to complain about.
yeah, and I think
and not actually do anything.
right. I think that's why there's a lot of protests that don't go anywhere, and I think that's also why a lot of people like to hate on Trump all the time, is because they like that drama.
He makes it easy though.
Oh, sure.
Well, and it's blame shifting, because then if they put the blame on him, they don't have to do anything about it.
Right, exactly. Well, I
It's
mean,
Trump's fault. I gotta go.
yeah. Well, and that's kind of like the whole, and I don't want to get super political or anything, but
Right.
the whole children being separated from their families at the border and this kind of stuff. There's so much more in that situation that people don't even
It's
understand.
been happening
And-
for
But
a
some girl
long
was.
time.
Yeah.
They took a picture of some girl crying next to a bus, so it's all over from there.
Yeah, that Time magazine thing. The and not only that, but this law has been it's been there since like George Bush Sr. or Obama or somebody before Trump, and it's but Trump's the one that's getting blamed for it, and he's the one that signed the thing that said that it can't happen anymore.
Yeah,
Is it okay
it's a fake
that
news.
people are coming to our country illegally?
Yes. Why?
Yeah, it's illegal.
I don't think we should have borders at all. There's certain parts of the United Kingdom that there are borderless.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Brexit happened because they didn't like that.
Well, what
And
we're
rapes
talking
are
about-
up, and murders are up.
Well,
And
it's not just Mexicans that we're talking about with people crossing our border. A lot of it has to do with like the Syrian refugees and stuff that's happening in like the Middle East. A lot of people fleeing war.
And then like a shooting happens in France.
yeah, well, okay, but let me
That's
stop.
separate.
Let me
That's
stop you
separate.
right there. It's literally it's like 80 or 90 something percent Mexicans.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, you just said it's
Well,
not
but no,
mostly.
no,
You just said it's not mostly
But
Mexicans.
we're West Coast though. The
Syrian,
West Coast.
Syrian
No, I'm talking
refugees
about the
are
entire United
European
States.
open borders. We're not taking Syrian refugees into America right now. It's not happening.
Yeah,
Brad's being our fact checker.
I'm gonna look it up. So, why should
Ooh, it's getting real heated now.
do you think illegal immigrants contribute heavily to our carbon footprint?
There you go. Bring it back around. Yeah, baby.
Okay, how about this? Do you think that our carbon footprint is too big?
Well, I want to stay on this.
Us as a collective
I want to
world.
stay on this immigration thing real quick,
Okay,
because
alright.
I have a bunch of Hispanic friends, and I have a bunch that are actually not citizens that have like a visa or a green card, and
They're all legal.
Yeah, that's legal.
Yeah,
Because
visa and green card is legal.
We don't
Yeah.
have
I'm saying.
a lot of illegal immigrants in our particular
Okay.
northern state.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So what I'm trying to focus on is like the culture behind coming to the United States and making a bunch of money and going back home and taking it home with you. Like
They're
that's
not,
what
they're
I'm.
not taking it home with them. They're sending it home, and they're
Yeah.
staying here so they can work more and send more home.
Okay,
They're not
you're
leaving.
right. I'm
Well,
not gonna argue with that because like I know a bunch of like the U-Haul place, in College Place. They're a U-Haul place. We've
you
given
go.
ourselves away before.
Just doing it again.
All they do, that place, all they do is sell U-Hauls and they send money to Mexico. Like I've been in there trying to rent a U-Haul and like 4 or 5 people have come in with this intention of sending money to Mexico. There's
Once they're here, they
there's-
don't want to leave because they're making a
there's
heck of a lot
companies,
more money.
but
here.
yeah.
no, I know people though that will go home for the wintertime and they'll come back in the
Sure.
summertime and
Yeah.
work.
Because they work at the labor camp that's a farm and they don't work during the
Yeah,
year.
and being on the West Coast, almost all of our produce and almost all of our
Everybody has a green card. Everybody has a visa. They're
Yeah.
all legal.
Here where we live, yes.
Yeah. Every last one of them, they're all legal.
Okay,
In this particular department.
so I could do the math and get the actual percentages, but according to this website, immigration.procon.org, top 10 countries of origin for illegal immigration. Mexico is number 1. This is a study from or a survey from 2012. Mexico is number 1 with 6.7 million. And the next closest one is El Salvador with 690,000. So
El Salvador's in Central America, so that's
Yeah.
basically South Mexico.
well, and so that means Mexico has 10 times
Yeah.
the illegal immigrants that El Salvador does, and then it just goes down from there. So
so my viewpoint is that I'm not originally from America. Like my ancestry and my heritage
Well,
is
No,
none of us are.
well, no, hold on.
You, as a particular
You-
individual,
you
was
are
born
American.
In
I-
America.
yeah. So
You're
okay,
American.
yeah. So let me be more clear with this.
Okay.
So my
Let me be
lineage,
clear.
my ancestry is not
Don't get it twisted.
from North America. Okay, so
Okay.
There's
So-
very few people that are.
right, and so that's
But
what
how
I'm
many
saying.
generations are you here?
More than you know.
Okay.
No, not. I don't know. This is probably
Probably like 5 or
5.
6.
Yeah. So
Sure.
what? So it would be really greedy of me. Like, let's say I was wealthy to be like, no, you can't come here because I say no. I mean, they want to come here and create the same thing that my great grandfather did for me. And so why shouldn't they be able to?
Well,
They should be able to. You should be able to go wherever you want to, fly a plane to Japan, to wherever, without
so
any sort of passport. Maybe
I-
you need
Well,
immunizations.
You can't.
I know
go,
you can't.
Go try to get a. Go try
Have
to
you
get a work-
been to one of those airports? It is the worst. Okay, so like last summer I went to China and like you have to like there are so many regulations. You have to drop any fluids that you have, any lighters that you have, any
Yeah.
like there's certain things that you cannot
And
carry
that's
onto the
because of
airplane.
9/11, though. That's because of
No.
people scared about.
No. It's because
tax.
government regulations. They want to control what people bring in and bring out.
and let me put it. So you're saying, oh, we're. Let me get back to you're like, oh, we're a nation of immigrants, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the difference is, I'm not against immigration. It's the illegal part.
The
So,
illegal part. But
yeah,
you guys both have said that like almost everyone in our area is documented and
Which means
legal.
they're paying
Yeah.
taxes.
I have no problem with those people
Okay.
at all. The neighbors, they've immigrated from Mexico. Your coworkers' parents.
That's who I'm talking about right now.
No, so I've talked to them. They're legal.
Yeah, but they're not
paying-
citizens though.
They're paying.
Yeah, they are.
taxes.
If you're legal, you're a citizen.
If you're
Yeah.
illegal, you're not paying taxes. If you're legal,
Nope.
you're paying taxes.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with the tax part, but
Yeah.
I know for a
that's
fact.
the problem that the Americans have. You, as an American citizen that works and has a job, pays taxes.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's not cool that the Mexican illegal immigrants are working and
Under
not
the
paying
table?
taxes?
Under the table.
Yeah.
I
And sure,
think
they
it's
might
okay.
they might be getting paid less or whatever,
think
but
it's
they're
okay.
not paying taxes. They're not contributing.
You
It's
think
to
it?
the
You
problems that are in America.
you think it's okay that they don't pay taxes, but you do?
Yeah. I think
Why?
if we were, because that's just one of the tiny splinters of the things that's wrong with this country. That's just one little thing, and when you disrupt that and make it right, it's going to fuck everything up and make all of our food more expensive because we're gonna pay white people $15 an hour in Washington to go out there and do the work in half the
Well,
or
and
more.
that's the thing too, is that the illegal immigrants are willing to do work that white, quote unquote, white people are not willing to do. Like, it's back-breaking work.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the money's worth more to them because
they value family. They're actually more culture-oriented and like group-oriented than Americans who are individually oriented.
Definitely.
So that's because of the Spanish coming and putting Catholicism, right?
Mm-hmm. That might have something to do with it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
No,
I guess
I
Spanish
think
people aren't white, are they? They're kind of white
No.
Spanish people, like
No.
Spain.
I mean, whiter than Mexicans,
Whiter
I
than
guess.
Mexicans.
But Mexicans are there because Spaniards came and conquered that land and interbred with the natives.
Okay, so what's the exchange rate for $1 to a peso? Is it like 70% or something?
It's something like a U.S. dollar is like 50 pesos. I don't know. I don't
What's
know.
50 pesos worth? I mean, yeah.
So it's my understanding that you
Or
can.
no, that doesn't sound right. Hold on. Okay, I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
Fact checker.
Yeah, let's do that because I heard that you can buy a house in Mexico or like pay a year's amount of rent with like $1,000 US would cover rent in Mexico for a year. Like that's a huge.
And if you're in the United States of America, you're lucky if that covers half a month's rent.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
So it's 18.69 Mexican pesos to every U.S. dollar.
But what's a Mexican peso worth?
That's what it's worth
about
compared to the
context.
U.S. dollar.
But like, what's that worth in like a house in Mexico?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what you need.
So it would make sense that they would want to come across the border to make that better money for less amount of time than it would be to stay where you're at and make, shitty
Yeah.
money. When you can go work for 6 months, come back, and be rich.
Sure.
Very much.
And you can get a work visa to do that.
Okay, so back to that. I'm saying that they're not citizens, not that they're illegal, because there's a difference between being legal and illegal, and there's a difference between having a green card and being a citizen.
So they're
So-
just here to work and make money. Don't you think they should pay taxes on that money?
Yeah, I do think they
And
should
that's
pay taxes.
and that's what a work visa or a green card does.
Yeah.
When we say, okay, let me get this straight. When we say illegal, we mean completely undocumented. No visa, no green card, no
They
citizenship.
walked across the border with no documentation.
And that's how your neighbor got here. They were illegal until
I know.
they filled out the paperwork.
Yeah, and then they filled out the paperwork, and now they're
And
legal.
they jumped to the hoops. But a lot of the times, we don't pay taxes ourselves. We gets taken out of your check by your employer. I know at the end of the year, you have to owe them or they give you money back.
Okay, but you just contradicted yourself. You do pay taxes. It's just that your employer takes care of it for you, so you don't have to like pay it at the end of the year.
You get a couple $100 taken out of your check every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot
That
less
goes-
than
that
the
goes-
Trump's administration.
So
Do
yes,
you know that?
Yeah.
it is.
It is.
It's a lot less.
Yeah, and so you do pay taxes.
You do pay taxes. I'm not disagreeing with
You're
you.
not. You're not.
Yeah,
getting
but you-
back
It's
as-
about
as much as you're
filing
paying
your
in.
taxes
I
is
promise
where-
you that.
But you just said that most of us don't pay taxes or something like that.
Okay, well, just like play on words, I guess. So maybe I would clarify later
A lot of us
in the
don't have to pay
conversation.
extra in taxes, but some of us do.
And a lot of us get money back from the government at the
Yeah, it
end.
depends on your tax bracket.
Well, yeah,
How many a year you make.
it does. And other things like write-offs and that sort of thing. I could tell you all about write-offs sometime. It's a wonderful thing.
I think that's a whole nother
Donald Trump loves
political
that system, let me tell you.
podcast that you guys should do.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
we have definitely diverted from carbon footprint.
So I want to clarify real quick. I just really want to clarify, and then y'all can talk about whatever you want. I feel like if you want to come here and work and live here, then you should be able to do that. And there should not be a border. Like, I like being an American, and I love the fact that I can walk down the street to a gas station and buy beer or cigarettes or weed even. Like, I really appreciate the
Three
liberties
most
I have.
important things.
Yeah, and that, like, for instance, like the women are treated really well
Hey,
here. Like,
you
they
need an
don't have
ID to buy weed.
They don't have to. You're required to have an ID on the street. You're required to
Yep.
always have a form of identification.
But what do
Yep.
undocumented illegal immigrants not have?
Identification.
So how are they going to buy their weed?
You didn't let me finish my point, sir.
Go for it. Go for it.
so I'm really appreciative to be an American and to have all these things, to be able to do the things that I'm able to do. And so I'm not going to be selfish. I want to share that with everybody else. So if you want to come and be a piece of crap and be a murderer, then do it. If you want to come here and do that, do it. It's your thing. But if you want to come here and pick my broccoli for me, or like pull the carrots out of the field, or potatoes.
You grow broccoli?
Or
Yes, he's a farmer.
then
Sorry.
by all means, do
Okay.
that.
So, and here's what I'm going to say. If you want to come to America, because yes, America is freaking great, and we are a freaking melting pot of all sorts of different cultures, and
Yeah.
it is the most wonderful thing
Yeah.
on earth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Then come here, but get your documentation. If you're only going to be here for a little bit, get a freaking visa. If you want to live here for the rest of your life, become a citizen.
Or marry an American.
Yeah, exactly. Mail order bread.
I honestly still think that we should probably just cut off all immigration for a while and let the melting pot melt.
All being powers involved here.
Okay, and
We
we
have
get to
the
make all the
power
decision?
to do this.
Mhm.
I would say you can have that. You can have borders and no more people coming in.
Mhm.
But what I would request from you is to end all social media. And
Thank God, let's do it.
Done.
Yeah.
Done and done.
social media is in like, oh, I saw
No,
this
just
thing about
social
Brad.
media, period.
I hate you now, Brad. Like that sort of shit where it gets you triggered. That would be a compromise.
Yeah. Do you get triggered?
Do I get? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think I get triggered?
Yeah.
Do you think I get triggered?
No.
Whatever. I think I get triggered. So what
I
if
get
you-
triggered. I actually had to take a social media break.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've taken a
I get
lifelong social
triggered
media break and it's been
all the
pretty great
time.
so far.
And it's not just from social media. It's from just daily bullshit. Like
One
driving down the
is,
street.
one part of it is like allowing that influence, because triggering is your emotional response, and your emotions are speaking to you saying, "Hey, there's an issue here.
Yeah.
Let's figure that out."
Yeah.
And so then you need to like gauge yourself and say, "All right, what's the issue, and why am I being triggered?"
Yeah.
And then figure that out so that you're not triggered as often.
If
Yeah.
somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're inside of a car, just yell at them.
But here's the thing, though.
Call him
like,
a commie bastard and get over with it.
So speaking of racism, so here's the thing. Like
That wasn't
We were
racist.
speaking of racism.
communist.
Communism is not a race, Nick.
Communism is not a race.
type of
Well, my
government.
bad. So
Communismist.
Yeah. You know, if anything, you know, people like to hate on Russia, and I don't know. I think that I don't
You know what?
necessarily like
In
them, but I
like-
think they should be our buddies.
In
Russians
like
are
every
white,
modern
though,
day
so it's
video
not race.
game that's like
What?
a
Okay,
war
and
video
that's
game.
retarded.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can be racist towards white people.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm white. Russians are white. Like
So,
But they are
They're a different race.
culturally. Yeah,
They're way
and
they
race.
drink so much more vodka than we do.
yeah. And they
So
have
much more.
and they even have different physical attributes than you do.
yeah. Like
Yeah, they're usually like big and stockier.
maybe,
And what?
No, maybe it's the
What?
clothes they wear. 'Cause it's
Isn't
so
that
cold.
true? No.
Yeah. No, you're true.
Definitely. Yep. Mhm.
They have a higher alcohol content, and they.
Maybe that's, maybe that's
yeah.
why.
I mean, I misspoke, but I guess that's not. That's not
You're not wrong.
not wrong. Yeah.
I thought the vodka was the key.
I meant tolerance was the word I was looking for, not content.
They have a bigger alcohol tolerance, but I mean that's just a matter of like they drink a lot more, so they're probably more tolerant to it, right?
What if we like actually went to Russia and they're like, "You Americans are crazy. You drink so much vodka.
I don't.
We
think
take
that-
like
You
we take
think
like
you
one
think we
sip a
drink
month."
as much?
But they've got so much vodka everywhere.
Actually, the Swedes make the best vodka in my
I think so.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolute is pretty good.
Yeah.
Grey Goose is pretty
I
good
like
too. Where's
Svedka.
that from?
Great. Yeah, so something I found out the other day is
It's okay.
that the Grey Goose and the Kirkland brand vodka, they like share the same water source, and they're made from almost the same recipe. And the Kirkland brand vodka is a heck of a lot
What are you
cheaper
talking
than
about?
Grey
If
Goose.
if you're watching, what is your favorite brand of vodka?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking for high quality vodka and you
You're
don't want
talking-
to spend a huge amount of money, pick up the Kirkland Costco brand.
Costco. That's what you're talking about. I was just at Costco, and
Yeah.
their whiskey looks like Crown Royal. Did you notice that? Like, and then their vodka looks like Grey Goose. No, not what did you say? Not Grey Goose, but
Yeah, Grey Goose. Kirkland is the brand, but
Kirkland
it's
is Costco brand.
Yeah, but it was comparable to Grey
Grey
Goose.
Goose,
Yeah,
Grey
it's the
Goose, yeah.
same bottle shape and everything,
Oh,
and then
sure,
like the whiskey for Costco is the same shape as Crown Royal. They have quality stuff.
That's called off-brand.
if you can call
Probably the same stuff.
if you can
But
call
that's the
Crown
thing,
Royal.
though, is Costco is one of those companies that like pretty much demands the highest quality in their production.
Yeah.
So
Well, they
you're-
buy in
yeah.
bulk.
Yeah, you buy in bulk, but it's still high quality
No,
stuff.
not us. They do too. They do
Yeah.
too. So they're able to buy a whole bunch to make it cheaper.
Mhm.
You can get 5,
So
6
the
packs.
Grey
of-
Goose factory is on the same block as the Kirkland factory, and they have the same stuff that they make their vodka with, and it's basically the same stuff.
So I have a question for you, Nick.
Okay.
Why do you think that Crown Royal is premium whiskey?
It's not.
A serious question.
Damn. I'm getting caught up in my words all over the place this podcast.
We're just trying to hold you accountable.
Hold me accountable. All right. So my favorite whiskey is Jameson
Okay, so that's an Irish whiskey.
Irish
That's a
whiskey.
good choice. But
Yeah,
still
yeah,
not the
yeah.
best.
But I actually prefer rum, like spiced rum.
But we're talking whiskey.
I know that's what we're talking about.
Spiced rum is pretty good too.
So it's weird. I don't know why I would think maybe marketing. Maybe they marketed it to me
Sure.
just right, so I think it's better.
I mean, it's kind of on the higher end of Canadian whiskeys. I would say probably out of the ones that I know, Pendleton is probably the highest quality Canadian whiskey, which is funny because it's made in the United States, but it's Canadian whiskey.
What qualifies it as Canadian whiskey?
It's the blend.
Got it.
I think the only types of whiskey that are like solid, like it's kind of like champagne, only champagne, true champagne only comes from Champagne.
Or cheese, like Parmesan. Real Parmesan comes from Parmesan.
Right,
The
right.
place.
So the only ones that are super strict like that are Irish whiskeys and Scotch. Scottish whiskey has to come from Scotland and it has to be aged for at least 8 years. Irish whiskey, I mean, there's a certain formula as well. There's a certain recipe, but like if you made that Scottish recipe here in the United States,
You'd
it
have to call
technically,
it whiskey.
yeah, it technically wouldn't be Scotch.
Yeah, because it's not made in Scotland.
And Irish whiskey is the same way, except I don't think that they have a standard for how long it's aged and that sort of thing. But it's actual Irish whiskey is made from Ireland. And then American whiskey is like bourbon and rye and that sort of thing. And then Canadian whiskey,
It's just maple syrup.
yeah, eh? We're just some maple syrup suckers, eh?
No.
You dang hose heads.
Can you make liquor from maple syrup? I feel like you should be able to. There's a lot of sugar.
Probably.
most-
If you're Canadian, you totally can,
It'd be like
Totally can, eh?
eh?
port wine, really, really strong.
Yeah, but like way more sweet.
Eh?
Could it be
Eh?
like a mead, maybe?
Maybe.
Except we call it rich and rare, eh?
Oh,
Hey.
hey,
So
don't
stupid.
talk shit about R&R. R&R is good.
The only
Grew
time
up on that shit.
the only time I like R and
You
R,
should not grow up on that.
Black Velvet, R&R. Clutch.
the only time I like R&R Black Velvet is with dill pickle juice.
They're disgusting,
I was
by
gonna
the
say
way.
like when you're living on
They're
the
not
side
disgusting.
of the street.
Well, they're pretty
no?
bad.
They're
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
Because isn't that like the cheapest?
Pro tip, guys: stick some horseradish in your absolute vodka.
Yes.
Leave it for a month and drink up.
Oh,
Why?
Okay.
because
Oh,
it's
man.
delicious.
Just try it.
Oh, just change the flavor? It doesn't increase alcohol?
No, it like
No, it
absorbs
really
into the
does.
vodka.
It increases the alcohol content.
Look at me like I'm an idiot.
No, it
I have no idea. Okay, I've been making what is it? Everclear? Like I've been making alcohol blends with Everclear. I have no idea what the alcohol content is on these things. I'm like, here, try this. It's 190 proof, maybe? I don't know.
So you're like mixing drinks for your friends with Everclear?
Oh,
and
you
stuff?
bet. You bet.
she made this lavender stuff. She's like, "Here, try this." And I was like, "All right." And it was all kind of frozen and slushy, and I took a spoonful and I was like, "Wow, that's like really alcohol-y and really lavendery."
Yeah.
Why are you using Everclear? Just curious. To like get people drunk?
No. So I had a friend who gave me a recipe, and the recipe called for Everclear, and so I've just kind of like stuck with that. But there's also you can make it with vodka as well.
Oh.
But
Yeah, vodka
Everclear,
is
I just
poor
feel
man's
like I live
Everclear,
in I live in the hollers, you know.
Not really poor man's either.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I personally think vodka tastes way better than Everclear.
True facts.
Oh.
Everclear. Yeah.
But I think that it's made from essentially the same stuff. Well, no, Everclear's made with corn.
Mm-hmm.
I think vodka is made with grain or potatoes,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right?
I think so. All right.
That's why the Russians like it, because they grow all the potatoes, and people in Idaho.
Whoa, yeah, I was gonna say
And Washington and Oregon
Washington,
sometimes
Oregon.
Yeah, but you never see any vodka that comes out of Idaho. So what's going on?
They
Fact
might
check that
actually
shit.
just
You're
be
wrong.
selling all
You know-
of their.
You
Yeah,
think-
I bet you. Okay, if there
Idaho
is,
vodka?
we
Yeah.
should order one.
Okay, Idaho vodka. It's probably called like
Idaho.
Aryan Nation.
Oh my gosh. Ooh,
Oh yeah,
44 North.
there's one called Vodka Idaho.
44 North Idaho. Potato vodka. Wow.
Yeah,
So
okay,
someone-
we gotta get some. Born and bred.
We have that at the Mark.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Oh, I'll have to
Idaho
go.
vodka.
Dude, we gotta go try it sometime.
All right.
I recognize that bottle.
Born and bred, purebred white. Oh wait, vodka is clear. It's the whitest white. It's clear.
All right, Trump.
Okay, we're about out of time, but I would like to say one last thing. There is a movie that we should all see when it gets released in the United States. It's a Canadian film, and the main character. No, that's a great movie though. No, it just was released in Canada, and it's going to be released in the UK soon, and hopefully in the US soon. And it's got Sam Elliott as the main character, and the movie is titled "The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot."
Wow.
And we should watch it
That
because it
sounds
looks
really
awesome
Canadian.
Yeah.
and freaking awesome. And it's got Sam Elliott, who has like the most.
Wait, didn't you
Beautiful
send
voice
us a
ever.
meme of it?
I didn't send you any sort of meme. I probably sent you the poster for the film.
Oh, I thought it was a meme.
No,
I feel like
Because that's
it
all we
was-
said.
it was 100% legit.
I feel
Is
like
this my
memes are
beer?
on their way out right now.
No, man, not even close. Jake from State Farm is the new meme lord. He took the title over from Alex Leathers.
So let's,
He did.
Yep.
Let's digress out real quick. So
All right. Do you have Serena? Do you have a quote to end us on?
please say yes.
It's not a very
Oh,
good
hold
one.
on, wait.
I have one. If you don't have one,
I have one.
okay.
I thought about trying crystal meth, and then I thought, I better not.
What's that from?
Weird.
Oh.
Finished business podcast of we're out.
We're finished.
Visit our Patreon and stuff.
Don't do meth. Not even
Yeah,
once.
don't do methamphetamines.
Or Chris